Welcome to the Christian Trucker Blog. My name is Lee. Pleasure to have you joining me. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, January 20th. The roads are dry. It is -1 degree here and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not going far today. I am going to Washington. I'm just going to cross the border and pull into the Bow Hill rest area for the night. I have a delivery first thing in the morning in Burlington, which is just south of that area. And then from there, I'm going to be rushing up to Delta to get a load of rebar back into, not here, but Kelowna, nearby. So I got a couple of shorties to start the week, which is fine. And then we'll see where it takes us from there. Kelowna, I'm going to guess an ABC recycling load of scrap cars. That's my guess, and I always guess that because we haul a lot of that. But I haven't been in there in a couple of months, and I'm becoming suspicious that something has happened to that account. I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. Oh, don't you love that sun? Man. Yeah, I don't have the GoPro set up, so I'm going to have to stop at the brake check in a little while here. I'll put the GoPro in and get some highway footage. I had an awesome weekend, a very relaxing weekend, and for me that means it was quiet and peaceful. The house is totally spotless, OCD, and we had time for a nap every day. Very, very important. That's part of a wholesome, healthy lifestyle. If you don't have naps going on, then there's something wrong. I had a lot of upper back tension, and when I got home, I was a bit of a bath junkie. I was always soaking in the bath, and I thought that it was related to just not being able to clean myself regularly living in the truck during the week. But I got a back massager that has 4 little balls that work away at your back and heat up. And I tell you, all the tension is gone out of my back right now, and I plan to just regularly work my back over with that thing on a regular basis, and it makes a world of difference. I feel so much better. If you have upper back pain, a lot of drivers get that from being hunched over the wheel, and just your arm and back position, the way you hold your head, all these things are factors in your upper back health, and you really want to take care of that. I also found if I had my seat leaning too far back, I developed a ache right around where my kidneys are. It wasn't kidney pain, but it was in that area that my lower back started to hurt on a regular basis. It would go away on the weekend and come back as soon as I was in the truck. I simply had the seat too far back. You want to keep it close to upright, so you don't have to, if it's too far forward, you're going to work at keeping your head up. If it's too far back, you're going to work at holding your head forward. You want your head to sit naturally above your spine, and that'll really affect the trapezius muscles in your back. So I don't know why this turned into a back lesson, but hey, it's free of charge. Yeah, I'll let you go for now. It's going to be a peaceful afternoon, Sunday afternoon. Getting a spot in a rest area is usually very easy to do, knock on wood. And I am one step closer to becoming the lease operator. We talked about it on Friday. I went home and designed my logo. I'm going to call my company Heavenbound Transport. I got to yell over the fan. I'm really excited. It's going to take place March 1st, as far as I know. I went through the numbers, and there is really, really good earning potential if you're willing to bust your butt a little bit. And I am willing. I figure I'll commit to 2 years of pushing hard. And then from there, at my age, with the lack of commitments I have, it may be time to look at changing things up a little. I'm not sure if that means finally buying a big luxury Volvo and doing the long haul high miler thing. We'll see. We'll see. I may take a job as a janitor, my dream job. We'll see. Anyways, take care. We'll talk to you in a bit. just finished up fueling at the Flying J in Hope. It's a very common spot for us. When we cross the border, 9 times out of 10, we go to the Sumas border crossing just south of Abbotsford. Almost always heading down here to go into the States. So I pull in Flying J, full facility. They've got showers there, which I don't use. Most truckers are okay with it. I go in there and I have to admit they keep their showers very nice and tidy there. But I'm standing in a place getting naked where a lot of guys are doing the same thing. And I don't know what all bacteria and, you know, whatever is in there. They keep the place clean and tidy, as clean as you'll find anywhere, I'm sure. But I am a bit of a germaphobe, and the idea of stepping on the floor where I don't know what's on the floor, and I just can't do it. I can't do it. But the price there is $1.30.9 per liter, and when I get down to the border, there's a Flying J just before the border on the right that is always a bit lower in price, and I have to square it away with management, but I think it's 2 to 3 cents a liter cheaper there. And I know the price that I see on my receipt here at $1.30.9 a liter isn't necessarily what we pay because of discounts. So I may already be getting a cheaper price right now, but becoming a lease op in March, I want to know for sure, because I just put in 440 liters, and that's not a massive amount, but that's what, times 3 cents a liter makes a total of, let's see, my math fails me. So every 100 liters, you're saving $3. Yeah, it sounded like too much, but that's over $12 in savings just by fueling up there, which I drive past anyways. So you really, as a lease op or owner op, need to know where the good fuel prices are and use them. There at that Flying J, you can get chicken, wings and tenders, hamburgers, pizza. There's a Subway off the side of the building. There's hot dogs, always Smokies and different kinds of things going. So it's got a lot of different food, and when you're fueling in the parking lot, usually, it wasn't so bad tonight, but usually there's a pervasive odor of grease like you get at a carnival, at a fair. You can smell the hot oil and all the yummy cooked foods. Same thing in the parking lot, and that drives a lot of truckers to go in and eat crappy food, and it's really honestly bad. I am not a fan of government intervention. People are adults, they have a right to make up their own mind, but at the same time, I don't think truck stops should be packed full of greasy, unhealthy food. Most truckers have a very sedentary, sit-down all-day job, which is hard on their hearts. Driving flat deck, I do get my free workouts in, and that I'm thankful for that. It's very important. But if you're sitting, driving a van, a high miler, like 5 axles, and you're going 1,200 kilometers, maybe up to 1,000 miles a day, you're not doing much but sitting behind that wheel. It's a stressful job, but it's not a physical job. This truck is an automatic. Most of the newer ones are now. And I drove 18-speed stick for 10 years with Super Bs. And believe me, I'm over it. I don't want to stick anymore. You know, it's just constantly shifting. And the other thing about that is you're always steering with your left arm, and as a result, my left shoulder has issues. So with an automatic, I can have both hands on the wheel, which is better for driving, better focus for driving. You're not distracted. And it's so much easier. If I want to sip a coffee, not a problem. But what was I saying? I get nattering and I lose my place. Yeah, it's an unhealthy thing for a driver to be eating all this grease and not physically getting going. One thing I've tried, which I don't seem to be able to stick with, is doing little movements behind the wheel. You can raise and lower your legs, which, just the effort of lifting your knees 6 inches puts strain on your lower abdominal. It can help strengthen the muscles in there, which will also help kind of suck in the belly. Just doing a tap with your feet to burn calories, things like that. I haven't been able to really get into a steady habit with any of that, though, unfortunately. I'm hoping that I'll just keep driving flat deck until I'm too old to drive, and that way I'll be assured I get a workout, because every day, like tomorrow, I'm loading rebar in North Vancouver, and it gets tarped. The tarp is a full workout, man. So, yeah, it's healthy this way. But if you're just a 5-axle van driver who's going behind the wheel 12 hours a day for 4 days on end, you need to stay away from that grease. That'll kill you. The average trucker is expected to live to the age of 63. That's the average. Most die before they ever see retirement. So you don't want to be one of those, and your family doesn't want you to be one of those. So learning good eating habits isn't as hard as some people make it out to be. But I kind of wish, I better get off the horn. We're going into the scales now. We'll talk to you later. I'm at the U.S. border waiting my turn to cross, and what I hope you're looking at right now is the Blood Wolf Supermoon. It is pretty spectacular. I thought I'd go ahead and get a picture of it because it is very bright, and apparently the biggest it's going to be for a while now. So, pretty spectacular. On January 20th, apparently later on tonight will be better, around 9 o'clock, but I don't know where I'm going to be at the rest area. It's all treed in. I may not get another opportunity to enjoy this, but sorry. I'm sitting here at the border waiting my turn, and right now with the government shutdown, they are charging some of us $13.30 to cross. I have documentation showing that our yearly fee was paid, and some accept it, some don't. So hopefully I get a good one tonight. From here I'm going to run through Nooksack, down to Bellingham, and then to the rest area. Okay, we're moving. Well, I'm all settled in now at the rest area at Bow Hill. A very nice little rest area. The washrooms are up the hill. Big grassy park-like area, and the passenger cars are over on the other side, and there's spots for about 15 trucks, I think, something like that. It's not a big rest area, but it's typically very quiet. I am probably 300 feet off the I-5, and it's not very noisy. I'm keeping an eye on that moon because I think it might be an eclipse tonight as well. I read something about it, but I don't want to say it is and be like really stupid. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. I think it might be an eclipse as well tonight. So you've got a supermoon, a blood moon, a wolf moon, and an eclipse. That's pretty hectic if that's the case. Well, it is without the eclipse, but I don't put a lot of stock in astrology and astronomy, things like that. But at the same time, I am looking for signs in the heavens as well. I mean, the marking of Jesus, our Savior, coming to earth, there was a sign in the heavens. So, and there will be the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, at his coming. I can't wait to see that. That is going to be the end. All of the games and garbage that's going on the earth right now will cease. All the weirdness, all the madness that's just frothing around us will be done away with. And I'm really looking forward to that. Everything around us that's happening is painful to watch. A 10-year-old boy being used as a stripper. Transgender, he dresses up like a girl and dances on stage in front of gay men who give him money. And, you know, our society isn't healthy enough to realize the perversity of that. The parents should be arrested. The owner of the gay bar should be arrested. The child should be put in protective services. It's horrible what's going on around us. And I long for the Lord's return because it's going to hell very quickly around us. So right now we're finishing the vlog with the End Times Bible study. I'm in 2 Timothy, and each verse is just loaded with stuff. It's taking a while to go through. We only covered one verse. You know what? Yeah, on, I believe it was Wednesday night. And then Thursday's vlog got scrapped. I only did half the day and figured it wasn't worth posting. So today is Sunday, January 20th, and I'm back in the saddle getting things done. I am not productive at home at all, but at work I'm very productive. I seem to be in go mode, and then I get home and I'm in no mode. Just a sluggard. I think it's the 14-hour days. The weekend is my reset time to really soak up the rest, but at the same time, I really try to be more, I need to try to be more productive at home. Anyways, we're in 2 Timothy chapter 3. We're going into verse 4 now. This is Paul saying, and if you haven't seen the last two Bible studies, I'm not asking you to watch the whole vlog, but please check out those Bible studies. They're very important. The Apostle Paul says you and I in the end times here would be in difficult times. And I'm not talking about your credit card not working or being maxed out or trouble at work. I'm talking about real difficulty. And as we're going through this, as you'll learn, it's talking about the end times church specifically. The Christian church of the end times is going to be a treacherous place to be. Now, Billy Graham and the Baptist Crusade about 20 years ago recognized that there was a church within a church, a nucleus of people who lived according to the scriptures and were dedicated to Jesus Christ and to living their life in a pleasing way to Him. And the larger whole only seemed to attend but didn't apply these things to their own lives. And this trend, they said at that time it was about 15 to 25% made up that nucleus. And since that time, 20 years ago, that nucleus has shrunk drastically. Now, most of the people who go into church are being convinced by one another that it's okay to live as the world lives, so long as we, do our one chapter a day Bible reading and attend a service on Sunday morning. Then basically it's all covered. But this is kind of a late 20th century mythology. Jesus is calling for full commitment, absolute commitment, life-changing commitment, as we're learning here in 2 Timothy chapter 3. So as we carry on, I want you to keep in mind that Paul is saying these are difficult times, and here's why. Let's start with verse 4. These people will be treacherous. They will be your friend to your face, and then they will break your heart when you realize they'd been gossiping about you. They'd shared things that you never wanted anyone else to know. They work behind your back to gain advantage over you. Things like this are going on. So they're treacherous, they're reckless. And this is speaking to a recklessness of spirituality. They take the things of God very lightly. I just recently read, and I think Psalm 141, they take my covenant in their mouth, and they throw my words over their shoulder. And God is speaking about the recklessness, the carelessness of the handling of His scriptures. And it's very much an issue today. People can read in the scriptures things like, be holy as your Father in heaven is holy. As many as are led by the Spirit, these are the children of God. They can read things like this and not really have it impact and cause them to sit up and take notice that These things are serious. These things are real. We need to pay attention. So the end times, many Christians will be reckless in their approach to God and the handling of God. Talking with my aunt, they no longer perceive themselves as servants of God. They perceive God as become their servant. God exists to benefit them. And I'm not just talking about the very obvious hypocrisy of the name it and claim it and the prosperity gospel and all that. I'm talking about a deeper meaning, a societal recklessness of, people can talk all day long and make lofty promises and claims and none of it be true, and they don't care. It used to be in my lifetime that when a politician was caught in a lie, that was a big deal, and no one would vote for a person like that if he was caught in a lie. We now have politicians who lie constantly all day long, and we're okay with that, to the point where many people have come to believe that words have no meaning. That's not true. Words still have meaning. We've just become reckless. We can make assumptions, we can make lofty claims, we can make promises, and not necessarily feel that bad when we fail to fulfill them. But as we go back in time, people understood the weight of words. When Jesus prayed, he then told them, the disciples, I have prayed for you. I did it already. Jesus has a level of faith we could never attain to, but at the same time, he understands that what he has said has become. Okay, they will be conceited. There's no question of that. Look at the cars that people drive. You need that expensive luxury vehicle that shows that you're wealthy, you're successful, you're prosperous. We really define ourselves based on the things around us. And in many cases, we own a lot of very nice things. Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. Now, this is a very, very interesting verse. Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. Does that mean we're not allowed pleasure? No, it doesn't mean that, because eating the food God has given us is a pleasure. Receiving the love of our family is a pleasure. There's nothing wrong in pleasure itself. But at some point, food can become something more than nourishment. Food can become the place you go to comfort yourself, to assuage yourself, to make yourself feel better. You're sad, you're weary, you're run down, you're depressed or whatever, and you go to food. And that pleasure is what you want, and it fills that emptiness inside of you that only God is supposed to fill. Alcohol. I don't have a problem with people who can socially drink the odd time. Have a glass of wine with friends out at dinner somewhere. There is no sin in that. Christianity has made it a sin to drink, but biblically it's not a sin. Where it becomes a problem is there's a line where you stop having a drink just to enjoy it with friends, and you start to turn to that drink to do something for you. And you're not turning to God anymore, you're turning to the bottle. Many things in life are like that. Sex is, of course, a pleasure. But people can start to turn to sex because they're looking for that release and that peace that they're not looking to God for anymore. You see, they've replaced God with pleasure. And in our society, seeking pleasure is almost like 98% of what people do now. They don't turn to God, and frankly, they don't care about God. Time magazine had the brass to come out and decide that God was dead. We don't need God anymore because we have doctors, we have bank accounts, we have grocery stores, we have Walmart. We don't need God anymore. And frankly, the more wealthy and prosperous people become, the less they turn to God. And we're surrounded by pleasures. Even our poorest live at a level better than most kings in ancient time ever lived. So it's very easy to see and how subtle and alluring it is to turn to pleasure in your times of trouble and woe and misery and need, where we're supposed to be turning to God, and our strength is in Him alone. And you see why Paul says these are treacherous times. almost everything we hear today from every source is a lie, whether it be school or media or music or movies, entertainment. You turn on the radio, everywhere we go, we're receiving lies upon lies upon lies. It used to be you could grab, let's say, bread, and it would be wholesome. It would be the basic ingredients, untampered with, healthy. And now everything is so processed and refined that what we're eating is actually very harmful to us. Well, that's just physical consumption, but our mental consumption is the very same thing. Most of what we're consuming mentally these days is packaged. It's designed to influence you, to conform you, to cause you to live and believe in a certain way. And frankly, we're all but defenseless against it, except we isolate ourselves from it. I don't have Netflix anymore. When I heard that there was a program, I never watched any of it, but when I heard there was a program on Netflix where an 11-year-old girl accidentally had an orgasm, and this was a part of a program, I canceled my subscription and told them why. You have to push back and turn away from a lot of the entertainment the world is consuming, because it's designed to cause you to think and believe certain things, and it will definitely influence you in your Christian life. This is the most important verse. I could stop at verse 4 and save this for tomorrow night. I think I will, honestly, because I really want to open this verse up. So once again, we find ourselves only covering one verse tonight. But tomorrow, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5 is an eye-opener, and I hope you return to the Christian Trucker vlog to share this with me. God bless you.